In the wake of Assad's fall, Syria is no longer the same battlefield it once was. A new kind of struggle is emerging, one defined less by open conflict and more by shifting alliances, strategic withdrawals, and quiet deals made behind closed doors. From Washington to Ankara, Tel Aviv to Damascus, the region's power players are recalibrating their moves.
I mean, Syria is at a unique moment. Many of us feel strongly about the opportunity that exists. Syria has such an important role to play in the region, in a very volatile region. And rarely do countries face such distinct turning points where they can break with the ruin that came before.
Yet on the ground, the situation is far from stable. The Pentagon has confirmed plans to withdraw roughly 600 troops from Syria, reducing its footprint to fewer than 1,000 personnel and closing multiple forward operating bases. Pentagon spokesperson Sean Parnell announced the US troop reduction was due to the significant steps the US has made toward degrading ISIS appeal and operational capability, regionally and globally. According to Vladimir van Wilgenberg, co-author of Accidental Allies, the US-Syrian Democratic Forces Partnership Against the Islamic State, the withdrawal of US forces has significantly weakened the SDF's ability to resist any future Turkish incursions.
So it's in their benefit to find an agreement or detente with Damascus. There's also pressure from Turkey, and you also have other countries like Germany, France, and other countries that have also been talking to the SDF to push them also for an agreement with Damascus. And another reason is that they prefer to have an agreement with Damascus because since the beginning of the Syrian revolution, they have controlled an autonomous area in Syria, but it has never been recognized by the authorities in Damascus. And if they reach an agreement, they can have an official status.
Facing the reality of a US military withdrawal from northeastern Syria, the SDF made a decisive move. On March 10th, in a landmark development, SDF commander Maslum Abdi signed an integration agreement with Syria's new leadership in Damascus. Under the deal, the SDF is set to merge its military and civil institutions with the Syrian state. However, while some progress has been made, significant challenges remain before the agreement can be fully implemented.
Only the problems is that there are different ideas between Damascus and the SDF over how this agreement should look like. I mean, they have these several points of the agreement, for instance, the return of IDPs, ceasefire, integration, handover of oil and military installations and others. But the main issue is that the SDF want a decentralized system, and Damascus is so far more favoring a centralized system.
As these negotiations unfold, regional players are also recalibrating their strategies. Seizing the opportunity created by the collapse of the Assad regime, Ankara has moved swiftly to strengthen its ties with Damascus. Turkish forces have scouted multiple sites, including the T4 and Palmyra air bases, for potential joint operations. However, those plans have been put on hold after Israeli airstrikes damaged critical infrastructure at the proposed locations. Turkish journalist Hamza Tekin argues that Ankara's presence also brings advantages for Syria.
ممكن لسوريا أن تعقد اتفاقيات دفاع مشترك واتفاقيات عسكرية وتعاون عسكري واستخباراتي وأمني مع عدة دول، ليس فقط مع تركيا بطبيعة الحال، ولكن اليوم الأقرب لسوريا التي يمكن أن تستفيد منها الحكومة السورية والجيش السوري المقبل والشعب السوري أكثر في هذه الناحية الأمنية والعسكرية هي تركيا.
The Israeli airstrikes on the T4 and Palmyra air bases are far from isolated incidents. Since the fall of Assad, Israel has steadily escalated its military campaign in Syria, launching over 1,000 airstrikes and framing them as preemptive actions to safeguard its borders from perceived future threats.
לא נאפשר לכוחות עוינים להתבסס במרחב הביטחון בדרום סוריה, מכאן ועד לציר סווידה דמשק, ונפעל כנגד כל איום.
Dr. Scheller, a distinguished political scientist and expert on Middle East affairs, who currently heads the Middle East and North Africa division at the Heinrich Böll Foundation, questions the legitimacy of such claims.
It is difficult to see how Israel can justify these actions in Syria as preventive actions, because I think never before we have heard tones like the ones that Shara struck, saying we're not intending to threaten Israel. So I think it is a strange time for defending itself in this way. Also, of course, it is an incursion that is advancing occupation. Israel already occupied parts of the Golan Heights that belonged to Syria under international law in 1967. And currently it is expanding this, it is advancing. And also the Israeli government has said that it means to keep these areas forever. This is more an annexation than an occupation only.
The dominoes are falling. US out, Kurds in talks with Damascus, Turkey moving in, and Israel on high alert. As new alliances crystallize in post-Assad Syria, one question rises above the rest. Is this the dawn of regional stability, or just the start of a new phase of competition about influence?